Here we all are, gathered together in this place. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What is His will? How do we know what's true and what's real? We may not know where life's road will lead, but it doesn't matter as long as we believe that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. What's going on in this world today? How do we fit in? What can we do to make a difference? What can we say? Where do we go? This way or that way? But if we all pray, truly believe, love one another, we can let the world see that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be.
How about that? We get something to think about before we even get started. Nicely done. So how y'all doing out there? Nice to see some, at least, faces that are new to me. So welcome. My name's Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. I'm the senior minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. If you're joining us online, welcome to our love stream. And it's great to have you with us as well. And if you're local, I hope you'll come in and join us sometime soon. And our street fair is next Saturday, I think. So if you're local, swing by and join us. The whole fair, the whole street will be shut down. And there's an Oktoberfest at one end. So if you get thirsty, you can go down there and have a cool beer. And I think it supports the Rotary Club of Granada Hills. Anyway, our presider this morning is Andrea. So let's invite Andrea up here. Opening ritual as we just together take a deep conscious breath. Can I get a little volume on this? Oh, that would help. Mike is on mute. How about that? Is that better? Starting to get to sound like Rod Stewart here, I think. All right, so let's take a deep conscious breath together. Feel the release as we just allow ourselves to be fully present in this moment, this eternal now moment, as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And that fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Andrea lights the first candle, it is for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives and the space we hold for them here, in our center and within our own hearts. Now, as Andrea lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
And so how very grateful I am for this opportunity to feel within the depths of my own soul that one flame. To recognize that there is but one light, there is one life, one presence, one eternal, infinite intelligence that is expressing itself everywhere. Everywhere. Even in places where I might have difficulty seeing it, it is there. God is the answer. Love is the answer. Knowing that this divine presence is everywhere, I know it's right where I am, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't know it, but the truth is it's right here expressing as my life. And the same is true for each of us here. God is, I am. We are the divine expression of it. And it is in this consciousness of oneness, from this place of unification, knowing that there never could be, there never was, there never will be any separation. There is only oneness. And in this consciousness of oneness, I simply bless this morning's service. I bless our Reverend Dr. Mike McMorrow and the wonderful journey that he's been on, knowing that he allows infinite intelligence to have full sway as his beingness this morning, and that we are open at the top, that our hearts and minds are wide open to receive the message that is delivered this morning. And as a result of that, I know that we leave here changed, with a greater awareness of Spirit as our life. And for this, I remain thankful and grateful, eternally grateful, as I lovingly release this word to that aspect of God known as law, which always and only says, yes, 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 yes. It is so. I allow it to be so, and in agreement We simply affirm this together by saying, and so it is. Good morning. I'm always happy to be here, happy that you all are here, and really happy that you're here, Rev. It's wonderful to have you back and to share the pulpit with you again. So grateful for you. And grateful to Reverend Nancy. Welcome back to you as well. You know, Reverend Nancy and Reverend Maureen really held the fort down while Rev was on his healing journey, and we're so grateful for that. Thank you, Nancy. So we're in Foundations class, and we're talking tomorrow night about grace. I was reminded of a song I sang with the Agape Choir called Hallelujah, and one of the lines says, "Thy grace is sufficient. We enter thy courts with thanksgiving, and we enter thy gates with praise. Thy grace is sufficient." I'm sure you've heard there, "But for the grace of God go I," or it's by God's grace that whatever. And I think it holds different connotations in different religions and different faith-based teachings. I think sometimes there's the idea that grace is bestowed upon us whether we deserve it or not. I'm not sure that one really resonates with me so much because I think we're all deserving. But the Science of Mind glossary says that grace is the givingness of spirit to its creation, and it's not a special law, but a specialized one. Grace is. It is the logical result of the correct acceptance of life and of a correct relationship to spirit. We are saved by grace to the extent that we believe in, accept, and seek to embody the law of good. I was thinking about my story, which I've told up here from the pulpit probably too many times, but here it is in a nutshell. When I was 10, I found out I was adopted. Pour me a drink. No, don't do that. There, but for the grace of God, right? So when I was 10 or so, I found out I was adopted, and I began to tell myself a story. The story that, my birth mother must not have loved me. Therefore, I must be unlovable. Therefore, no one's ever going to love me. Therefore, how could I love myself? Blah, 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 blah. And I told myself that story for many, way too many years. Way too many years. And it shaped my experience in life because it's done unto me as I believe. Then one day, and it wasn't all that long ago, I decided to change the story. And I decided that it must have been a gift that my birth mother wasn't able to provide for me what she wanted to be able to. And so she handed me over to somebody who could and did, in fact, provide me with a great life. And I let that old story go. And then, I think it must have been by grace, the steps were put in place for me to find my birth family. And you know what? My life would have been so different had I stayed in that family of origin. and it would not have been nearly as good. It would have been very troubled, because I got to meet those folks, and there's a lot of, I guess the nice way to say it is there's just a lot of dysfunction. And I know we all have that in our families to a certain extent, or most of us do. And we, it's all grace. It just happened for me by grace. And thy grace is sufficient. And I enter thy gates with thanksgiving and praise. Because of myself, the small self, without recognition of the divine life and the law of good that is ever available to me, things would be different. The writer Anne Lamott says, "I do not at all understand the mystery of grace, only that it meets us where we are, but it doesn't leave us there. It takes us somewhere else, doesn't it?" And I bet you each one of us has our own unique experience with grace. Thank you.
Through my window, as the storm blows, I see flowers in the rain. Past the thunder and the lightning, I am praying for a change. So when my little boy grows up to be a man, love will be the law of the land. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, I'm calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. I see one love and one world, with no walls to separate us. I see beauty and kindness for each other. In God we trust, and the only tears that fall in the night will be tears of joy, 'cause everything's all right. Yet I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. And the only tears that fall in the night will be tears of joy, 'cause everything's all right. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over Yeah, we need it the most. Dialing it up.
That one got me, Teresa. No, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Let me be quiet. So happy to have spiritual community where I can cry and be okay with that. So, announcements for today. Practitioners are available in the treatment room for a 2-minute tune-up. If you want to anchor something more deeply, if you want to release something, see one of us. I have a button on my shawl, which I forgot to wear, that says, "Make my day, ask me to pray." So we love to pray with you. There's a Zoom meeting fellowship, and you have to email Lissa for the invitation. We're keeping our Zoom number a little more private right now, so I think Lissa's information should be on the screen, and she will give you the invite for the Zoom meeting for fellowship. The Law of Attraction group is meeting today at 1 o'clock on Zoom, and Emily has details for that at joyvibrations@gmail.com. The Sangha Fall series is ongoing on Wednesday mornings at 9:30 to 11:30. It's a 6-week series. I don't know where they are in the series, maybe week 3. And this I beg your pardon, it's week 6. But each week is freestanding, so you can come any week you want and get in on the goodness of that. Vinu is fantastic, and she's the facilitator, and it's a really great experience. Wednesday, October 16th, the Singing Bowls, Tibetan Singing Bowls are back with Wayne McDonald for our Wednesday meditation service at 7 o'clock. Thursdays, 7 to 8, AA has a meeting in the back there if you want to learn more about their thing. The Granada Hill Street Fair is Saturday, October 19th. We will have a booth at the street fair. Please come by and say hello if you want to sign up and sit at the booth for a little while during the day and pass out flyers or just talk to people and let them know that we're here if they're looking for a spiritual center. So there's a sign-up sheet in Sparks Hall if you want to take a time slot. If not, just come on by and say hello. I'll be there in uniform with search and rescue for part of the day, and then I'll be at the booth for part of the day as well. Our annual Harvest Festival is coming up on November 2nd. I have tickets we're not giving out tickets, but if you want to give me money, I'll make sure your name is on the list. It's really fun. It's dinner, dancing, drinks, hors d'oeuvres. Well, not in that order, in a different order. But it's really a fun time. This whole sanctuary is going to be converted into a party hall with food, catered dinner. It's $60 right now, but the price is about to go up to $65. And then if you try to get in at the door, because we're not prepared for you at the door, we're going to charge you more. So get your tickets in advance. At the door, they're going up to $75. So there's a flyer in Sparks Hall. I can send you tickets, sell you tickets today. You could call in tomorrow and talk to Danny and give her your credit card number. She'll get your name on the list. It's going to be fun. Come on in and see us. Is there a gratitude box? Does somebody have the gratitude box? No, it's okay, Chloe. No. I'm running over, I'm sure. So let's stand up, if you don't mind, and say our Declaration of Principles. This is what we believe. This is what we believe. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
And if you'll stay standing and join singing with me. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am one with God. I am perfect health. I am perfect health. I am perfect health. I am one with God. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am one with God. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am one with God.
Thank you, Teresa. Let's give Teresa James some love. I'm glad that song wasn't before my talk. And nice job. Your grace is sufficient. Our grace is sufficient. What's the proper way? Thy grace is sufficient. Which actually ties in, well, I'll see. You're going to get like stuff I think about today. And so some of that's good because our talk title is Power to the People. And today we're going to be looking at our personal power and my own thoughts around that. So a lot of the stuff that I've been, people say, oh, you must have read all these books while you were out. And, the truth is you have to be fit enough to have focus to be able to read, right? But thank God for YouTube because there's a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of bullshit on there too, but oops. I guess I've been away too long, but a lot of BS. There's a lot of BS on YouTube, so you got to kind of sort the wheat from the chaff, right? But this month's theme, Power to the People, we began it last week in the physical world, in our need to find ways of finding clean power to fulfill our energy needs. So Reverend Ryan Beatty up in Seattle was using this metaphor for us to look at, how can we cultivate clean power within our own interior practice, within our spiritual practice, and challenged us to to look at our own personal power and explore ways to engage with our personal power and to kind of make sure that it's clean power, right? That we're adding value to the world, rather than making things a bit murky. I think, do all of us remember the Peanuts comic strip? So there used to be this thing called newspapers, and it had a comic section. It was a whole section, and so Peanuts was one of the characters in there was Pigpen. And Pigpen was one of those guys who would show up in the cartoon. It was, of course, this cloud of dust that he would kick up. And, because we all knew kids like that, or maybe we were a kid like that ourselves growing up. But I think it's a wonderful metaphor for consciousness, right? So we don't want to show up in Pigpen consciousness, do we? Maybe you do. Sometimes we love a good fight, right? But I'm just going to presume that because of all the things that you can do on a Sunday morning, you have chose to be here, either in person or online, that you're looking to live life a little differently. Looking to live life from our highest self, rather than get bogged down in the denser aspects, denser vibrations, if you will, of Pigpen or Eeyore consciousness, right? Oh God, it's another day. It's Monday, right? So with Reverend Ryan Beatty up in Seattle, the Seattle Center for Spiritual Living, we're going to explore and engage with our personal power as clean power. In other words, how to raise our awareness, how to raise our, what we're paying attention to, and in time then raise our consciousness as well, as the logical result of paying attention in such a way that we are now responding to the world instead of reacting to it. And we have a lot to exercise that skill going on these days. So if we think about it, this really is the goal of any religious construct in its purest sense. When it's, this is my opinion, when it's not being used for manipulation for a group or a congregation. So even this one. So the purest sense of any spiritual system is to harness clean power so that we grow in our relationship with the one and to allow that relationship to make itself known, to make itself manifest, to allow it to create by means of our life so that we are adding value to the world, right? And it all begins and ends with our relationship with the source of all. Call it what you will. So I meant to give you this picture to look at. So this is North Beach outside of Port Townsend. And through that pink area up there is Canada, one of my favorite places. So this ties into Rev Ryan, who's from Seattle. He's across the Puget Sound. So Rev Ryan ties this month to our annual theme of Grand Rising when he writes, "A grand rising with power begins with us. We do our inner work to create a relationship with our inner power that supports us. As we forgive and heal our inner relationship with power, we take the next step in rising by how we express our personal power." So as we continue to explore the notion of cultivating clean power this month, the Rev writes this week that the journey towards clean power is always going on within us, right? Whether it's subconsciously or consciously, it's always going on. How power shows up and outpictures in our life reveals how that inner work is going. So supportive questions to ask ourselves include, is there a hidden agenda in my expression of power? Right? Are there little mini manipulations that maybe we're not even aware of? Or how does my expression of power relate to my values? So this thing about power. So Ernest Holmes in this thing called You, one of our favorite books, the power of God is my power. And if that word G-O-D gets to you, you can say, the power of love is my power. The power of grace is my power. Now, personally, I can't help but think how these ideas would land differently if we were not asking them of ourselves in the October before a national election, which I'm sure, to be honest with you, I think that is the motivation of the writer and the writers this year. So if, like me, this has been triggering you in some way, just pretend like it's February 2nd, Groundhog Day. So you remember the theme of the 90s movie Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is relived over and over and over again until the full realization of the main character to be the best version of himself transforms the experience, and he gets out of that loop, that time warp of living that same day over and over again. And of course, he got the girl, and in the end, they lived happily ever after. But life rarely works out that way. Am I right? Or is it just me? Right. And at the same time, looking back, we understand that in some crazy cosmic way, all of us are spiritual alchemists, and that we can turn lead into gold. We can take an experience of adoption and turn it in, and the feelings of a child, right? So as a mature adult, that would have a different thing going on, right? But just knowing Andrea personally, knowing that that's been transformed into this golden opportunity of gratitude and connection and family, right? And all of us can, connect with that in different ways, right? Where we felt an outsider, that we were standing outside, and then finding our way. Particularly, this is the real gift of spiritual community, as Andrea was speaking to, that we can find our way to connection. And in some ways, maybe even develop relationships that are much deeper and far more meaningful than our families of origin. So I know I found that first for myself. I should say I have a pretty close family. But the folks who really knew me were in 12-step, right? Because that's the first place that I started telling the truth, right? And so you've got a taste. I'm going to say that you'll take students for one more week before it's TikTok, the game is locked on Mondays, right? I mean, you got a taste of what's going on. This gal's deep. If you want a little more deepage in your life, if you're ready to start telling the truth and put these principles to work to turn that lead into gold, join Andre and Reverend Nancy in class tomorrow night, right? Starting at 6:30. Foundations class is an amazing class, right? I've taken it 2 or 3 times myself and taught it several times. And I love teaching it because, I think many times I get more out of it than the class does. Mainly because I'm the teacher, who knows? So let's pretend it's February instead of October. And we're just going to let that stuff just fall behind us. In our mind, we're just going to go to Hawaii and just relax, let go, and just know that everything is always working out for me. And that life continues, as life continues to unfold. We've all had experiences where we just thought, oh, criminy, I can't take even one more thing, right? I'm all out to give up. I'm all out. But from this place, I don't even remember where I was, but I can tell you it was Hawaii. We can ask ourselves, am I living the life I want to live? Am I living in my power? And is it clean power? Does my life reflect my values? Are my spiritual values made manifest in my life? right? Is it obvious? Is it obvious to those around us, right? And if not, what are we willing to do about it? So our personal power, what does that look like? This is what I've been thinking about this week, and how much power do we really have? So we're not here to play let's pretend, right? We're not here to glaze the horse apple and call it, a candy apple, right? We're here to practice the science of mind, which means if it's science-based, we're looking for evidence of our convictions. And is the evidence of our convictions demonstrating as the life we want or something else? And the truth is about this thing called grace, we're swimming in it. It's always available. It is substance, always available to us, right? But we have to get ourselves out of the way to allow ourselves to have an experience. And what that usually is self-judgment and recrimination. In some way, we're telling ourselves that we don't deserve it, that we have to earn it, because we have grown up in a structure of knowing that says we have to earn everything. There's no free rides. What was the old bumper sticker? Gas, grass, or ass? Somebody's going to pay, right? I probably shouldn't have said that. So spiritual power emanates from the absolute. I got to rechange that somehow. Gas, grass, or Mama Cass. I don't know. Spiritual power is in the absolute, the one power behind all, right? And we live in the relative world, which means our experience is expresses relative to our understanding and use of the absolute. So in this relative world, let's play some word games. What if we look at power, right? Because I think power is one of those things that we kind of put out there and we don't really own it. Not really. What if we change that word and what about authority? Right? Can we stand in our authority? And who gave us the authority anyway? Are we used to living from a place of being in our authority? And some may ask, well, who gives you the right to think and say such things, to live in such ways? Do we understand that to live in our authority is first a way of thinking and acting and being? And then how to do that from our highest self, not from our reactive self, not to be the bully boy pushing people around and manipulating people to get our way, which is an easy trap for authority. Whether you're married or have a company or you're a manager of a division, it's very easy to fall into the trap of manipulation, even subtle ones, because we want what we want when we want it. So in my opinion, it takes a while to learn this way, and yet it is essential. So if you think about it, as children, our parents had the authority, at least in my house. And if you didn't, you got the map of Ireland on your ass, or arse, right? In fact, there was even a commandment backing that play, right? Honor your father and mother, right? Next, our teachers. Maybe even the schoolyard bully for a while. Maybe coaches if we had any. And then as we learned to drive, the police became the authority in a way that was beyond theory, right? So perhaps like me, maybe you feel your history of resisting authority and all this that we're over that, because we can identify ways in which our resistance to authority has set us free, particularly those of us who remember the 70s, or at least part of the 70s. And so the resisting then is evidence of our freedom from authority. But if we still have a bunch of energy triggered by authority figures, it still has power over us. So, for instance, for myself, anytime I see the cherry top of a cop car lit up behind me, inside I'm the rebellious teenager again. And I have to fight from saying the first thing I want to say. Remind me to tell you about my 17-year-old self in California City sometime. But we won't get into that today. But, there are many ways of authority and living with authority. So in Europe, most of Europe has long memories of absolute authority, of a monarch, one person, who on a whim could change your life. That the subjects lived at the pleasure of the monarch. And most of Europe has long memories of monarchy. So the Windsors of England, who, we like to watch, and they're on the tabloid pages, and, who really cares about Harry and Meghan or whatever her name is. I saw in the magazine that they're getting a divorce at Target yesterday. This is a place where you can get all kinds of useless information. But the Windsors of England have managed to sugarcoat all that stuff a bit, but that's what's going on. But still today, there are those in England and in Europe. There are people out there who feel that they are above everyone else because of their title and where they've been born. Well, you talk about the Lucky Sperm Club. So that's how you get in the club. You don't apply. So in Britain, even still today, they have the House of Commons, the commoners, and then the House of Lords. These are hereditary titles, by the way, or bestowed upon Her Majesty. And these jokers have inherited this authority reaching back centuries. Now, that does not mean that we like to think we've cast off that stuff 250 years ago. And in some ways, we have. But I think for us, and here in America, we need to be aware that we not think of the wealthy as aristocrats, right? They're not. We have grown to put so much emphasis on wealth as a sign of success, and that's part of it. But what if to be successful is to be self-supporting through your own contributions as a sign of success? Right. Living the life you want, living your best life now with whatever is not, optimal. Even to exercise your right to vote is a sign of success and freedom, regardless of outcome. Right? So the arc of justice may bend slowly, but in time, the race consciousness, which is the way that we are all thinking together into this field of mind in ways that are conscious and unconscious, the race consciousness of freedom and justice makes itself known as the logical expression of this evolving creative impulse of life. And so in this way, we can be confident that in some crazy cosmic way, things are always working out for us. Things are always working out for me. That I am a spiritual alchemist turning lead into gold. So then a divine plan, the divine plan as Holmes defines it, the divine plan is one of freedom. That bondage is not God ordained, that freedom is the birthright of every living soul. So it's natural to look around at the conditions of our life, the outer world, and ask, what is the divine plan? And it is right to ask this question if we remember that the divine plan is our plan, expressing either consciously or unconsciously. And that sucks sometimes. If you're working through a health diagnosis, or your sweetheart has given you a hard time, if there's more month than money, and still the divine plan is one of freedom, that bondage is not God ordained. And so I'm just going to make this one last point. You know, I used to say, and you came up with a couple of expressions yourself this morning, I used to say that God won't give me any more than I can handle. Right? But the truth is, I am the gatekeeper to my own consciousness. And in a way, it's a spiritual cop-out. Right? I think it's a self-defeating idea. I used to make fun of myself and disparage various things about myself. And these ways of thinking must be shown the way out of our thinking because they don't support a greater idea. What it means is now we're living passively, right, expecting something outside of ourselves to change the world of conditions. But the truth is that it starts here, in our own hearts, in our own mind, within our own thinking. So we need a new shtick and a way of thinking that has agency and authority in it. That we must understand. Oh, this is O'Melveny. Oh, there's Jamie popping his head in there again. I know, I get to see him this week, by the way. So this is O'Melveny in the springtime, and that's my mental equivalent right now is going down Reseda. I look at 3 trees up on Mission Ridge that I'm going to get up there within the year. Oh, there, God. All right. That we must realize that this creative power, which I am, is also the creative power which you are. For you and I are one. So let's take a breath on that. So I'm going to leave you with this. What would it look like for you to approach tomorrow, or even the rest of this day, with a sense of honor and privilege, believing that you have work to do in the world, and that it matters, that it's needed, and that you have a path, and that you are working. You're working your craft, that you are adding your unique expression of the creative impulse of life as you, regardless of where you see yourself on the timeline, whether you're 18 or 6 times 18. Whatever we're working through, we are working with. We can stand in our authority by making choices that affirm our belief and values, aligning with the absolute power by which all is made manifest. So we take a deep breath in this moment, put our hands over our heart. I am aligned now with this absolute power. Through me, all is made manifest. So I choose to be a spiritual alchemist. I choose to live from a place of knowing that I am a change agent in the world. That I am a transformer. More than meets the eye. That I connect with that eye behind the eye. from that place of grace, that place of divine substance, knowing things are working out for me. And so I allow myself then to live in the power and presence of the Most High, that I feel this field of mind intelligence even now quickening my heart as I bring forth my own cares and concerns for my life, for the world, for my children, grandchildren, my next door neighbor, my students, my customers. Knowing that our word has power, our word is spiritual law, for it is resonating even now upon this love intelligence that knows only to say yes. Yes, my beloved, yes, in you I am well pleased. So we just let it go. Take a deep breath. Feel the release. Let it be so. And allow Teresa to take us somewhere wonderful now.
Everybody stumbles. Everybody lies. Everybody's done it sometime in their lives. We all slip, but we don't mean to. And that doesn't mean you can't make it right. It's the path you take, the steps you make that make you who you are. It's the life you live, the gifts you give, the love that's in your heart. Just try to do the best you can to be a better man. You don't have to walk on water. It's how you walk on land. Everybody judges everybody else. Everybody's done it, everyone but themselves. We know what's right, but we still go wrong, and life still goes on even when we fail. It's the path you take, the steps you make that make you who you are. It's the life you live, the gifts you give, the love that's in your heart. Just let the light that shines on you stand. You don't have to walk on water. It's how you walk on land. It's the path you take, the step you make that make you who you are. The life you live, it's the gifts you give, the love that's in your heart. Let the light that shines through you shine across this land. 'Cause you don't have to walk on water. It's how you walk on land. You don't have to walk on water. It's how you walk on land.
Was I right? Huh? Yeah, so let's give her some more love, shall we? Thank you, Teresa. And so we'll invite Chloe to bring up the offering basket. If you've come prepared for an in-house blessing, just make your way up as you will. For those of you joining us online, please, I don't know where they either do it on PayPal. I think we got a Zelle thing going on. All right, so let's sing our offering song together.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through us.
So going with them for just a moment longer, taking a deep breath as we recognize this basket represents both the giving heart of the individual, the receptive heart of this spiritual community, the giving heart of the individual who knows and knows that they know that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so we as spiritual community now, we accept these gifts with deep love and respect as we know together these gifts go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only this center, but all houses of faith. That we, from this place of gratitude, we extend a blessing upon our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, for our planet as well. That we know that in some crazy cosmic way, the creative impulse of life is at work. And so we trust in its unfoldment as we are called to do what is ours to do and release attachment to the things that may be irritants and to focus our attention more on those life-affirming aspects of life that reflect our values, our compassion, and our love for our brothers and sisters. And so just taking a deep breath, we can acknowledge this together by saying, and so it is. Amen. So let's give Teresa James some more love. You can find her on the outlets, Spotify, not Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Spotify. Where can they buy your stuff?
From Apple Music.
Apple Music.
Or from CD Baby.
Yeah, so it's all on there.
Anywhere you, it's just not many places anymore, but anywhere you can buy it, you're
Right.
welcome to buy it.
Or you can join her at the 32 on many Friday nights. Do you bring CDs there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can,
Ever look for it.
have an adult beverage, maybe get a little exercise in. And it's an Irish pub, so you're bound to have a good time. So the other thing I would just like to point out that I love that people feel so comfortable that they can wear a football jersey here to the service. So I encourage you all to buy Seattle Seahawks jerseys. So I know Brian's doing that because the Giants beat the Seahawks this week. And I love that he did that. Okay, so let's invite Andrea up. Have a great Sunday, huh? All right. Let's go out to love and serve the world.
So once again, we just take this opportunity to turn within with a very, very, very grateful heart, recognizing the one life that is expressing in, through, and as all creation. I am so grateful for the message that has been delivered this morning, knowing that each one of us leaves here with a greater understanding and an expanded awareness of who and what we are, a greater understanding and an expanded awareness of the universe constantly conspiring on our behalf, recognizing our role as spiritual alchemists, turning lead to gold so that it benefits others, that we bring love and compassion into our day-to-day routine because it's how we walk that matters. So I'm grateful for everything that has transpired, blessing each of us as we travel to our next destination, knowing indeed that we are blessed and graced with every step we take. So I release this word knowing it is so. And in agreement, we affirm this together by saying, so it is. Amen. Amen. Please join us for the peace song as we stand and circle up.
Except my love for you. I got a funky old car, just barely gets around. Oh, hand-me-down clothes, I don't know where I found. I remember all the words. I love it.